What is keto? I'm Christy Shafer, and I recently posted on my social media regarding changes to my diet and exercise routines. It got a ton of response. To recap, I recently realized that over the past 5 years, basically since I started flying, my weight has crept up a little. Not morbidly so, but that's how it starts, right? It's like that frog in boiling water syndrome. It happens somewhat slowly over time. And it happened because I started eating convenience foods and snacking a bunch to get everything in around my flight training and my flying schedule. So I've decided to get back to keto and promote my overall health and fitness. I received a lot of messages in my inbox after that post, so I've decided to make some videos to vlog what I'm doing. This first video is intended to be a basic overview of what I do and why I decided to do keto. Most of you guys know that I'm an airline pilot now, but in my previous career, I was a medical biochemist. I have a lot of science training, and in my spare time, I still keep up with ongoing research topics, and I like to review current trends in metabolic science. My goal here is to try to disseminate that information and help others understand because it's a lot of info and it can be really intimidating if you don't know how to weed through it all. Disclaimer, I am not telling people what to do with their health or nutrition. I am simply vlogging what I'm doing and what I've learned along the way. First up, what exactly is keto? Basically, keto is eliminating most carbs from your diet: bread, pasta, potatoes, rice, and especially sugar. The whole point of this is to get your body to use the stored fat you already have for your cells to metabolize via cellular respiration. Warning, sciencey explanation of stuff ahead. This is stuff you may remember from way back in high school biology, but here's a quick review anyway. It'll help you to understand why keto is a thing. In the simplest of explanations, your body will take the stored fat and break it back down into glucose for cellular respiration. That glucose then goes into the cell to be used in glycolysis, the Krebs cycle, and the electron transport chain. That whole process creates ATP, or adenosine triphosphate, for cellular energy. ATP is super important and it's used as the active energy carrier of the cell. Side note, this is where the term mitochondria are the powerhouse of the cell comes from, because ATP gets created in the mitochondria. If you want another more in-depth explanation, I can do another video detailing cellular respiration, but for the purpose of this video, I'll keep it as simple as I can. The human body is crazy efficient. It'll actually use the ketones for metabolism as well. In fact, that's why after a few days of being in ketosis, people will get a heightened sense of mental clarity. It's because our brains switch over to using ketones for fuel instead of glucose. But we don't get these ketones when we eat glucose or carbohydrates for instant cellular respiration. In fact, when we eat carbs, our pancreas releases insulin to store those carbs as fat so that we can use it for later. You have to remember, we humans evolved with very few food sources. We are the prominent hominid species because our bodies learned how to adapt with very little to eat and how to use everything to our metabolic advantage. Having instant food sources at our disposal nearly 24/7 is a fairly modern construct. It's a blip in our evolutionary timeline, so metabolically speaking, we are not adapted to eating as much or as often as we are, especially not carbohydrates. The abundance of carbs in our diets is so very new that it's causing a lot of metabolic issues, which I'll go into in a later video. Most people don't realize that we can actually go days, weeks, or even months without eating, depending on how much fat storage we have available. To put it in perspective, I could probably go several weeks without eating anything because my body would just use the fat storage that I already have. Evolutionarily speaking, my body thinks that I'm living 100,000 years ago when food was really scarce. So it's going to store any and every extra molecule that it can for later energy usage. Think about it. Food is plentiful now, so my body goes into storage mode in order to keep me going for winter when food isn't as available. The problem is that our metabolic winter never comes because we have this ongoing supply of food that's always available. Our biology hasn't caught up to our very modern way of eating. So in order to remedy this, many people, including myself, have turned to eating in a way that puts us into ketosis because it means that we're using the stored energy our bodies have packed away for the winter. It's honestly a more natural way for humans to eat. The problem that I have with keto is that it started becoming really commercialized recently. I had a friend reach out to me because he and his wife decided to eat keto, so they started ordering some of those commercialized products. It was the easy way to go for a couple of beginners. They didn't know where else to start. And the problem is that those products aren't always truly keto. They leave people confused and heartbroken when they don't see the results they were promised. So, I'm going to tell you guys what I do and how I stay keto through these vlogs. I've actually been doing what I call keto extreme, or a more carnivore-based diet. I was really worried about getting bored with the limited choices, but I have to tell you guys, I am loving it. It's really simplified what I eat, and it's gotten me into better eating habits, especially when I'm on work trips. And those of you guys that travel for a living know exactly what I'm talking about. I am super full all the time, and I only eat one big meal a day now. I almost never think about food throughout the day. I was sitting here thinking about it, and I realized I've actually gone all day without thinking about food. Snacking has been eliminated. I feel really good and energetic. I'm saving money on my grocery bill when I pack for the road because it's such a simple process, and you guys know that's probably a good thing in today's economy. Oh, and no more buying food on the road. So I'm not only saving money, but I'm also getting healthier. I also started incorporating exercise into my daily routine because exercise has a lot of really good benefits, which I'll go into with another video. But the main takeaway is that you cannot exercise away a bad diet, which is why I've switched to a keto-based diet. I honestly wasn't sure how all of this was going to go, so I decided to do a 30-day trial before saying anything publicly. I wanted to be able to talk about real results. I'm actually really happy with the way things are going so far. So after 30 days, here's where I'm at. I've lost pounds in body fat, but gained muscle definition in its place. And I don't go super hard in the gym. I like to do inclined, fast-paced walking because it's a good cardio workout without stressing out my joints like hardcore running would do. I've lost 2 clothing sizes so far. I went from fitting tightly into my size 8s to being comfortable in a size 6 again. And I'm also working on fitting back into my size 4s. To put that in perspective, you guys, I'm 5 foot 8 inches tall. So that kind of tells you where I'm at. And I've always hovered around 135 to 140 pounds prior to gaining weight. After gaining weight, I went up to like 155. So that's kind of where I started. Now I'm sub 150 again. I'm right around 148, 149 after doing this for 30 days. I feel amazing overall. My mood has definitely improved. I'm happy most of the time and genuinely motivated every day. I don't crave junk or carby foods anymore, like not at all. I don't even crave the low carb substitutions anymore like I used to. My inflammation and bloating is completely gone. You guys might know what I'm talking about. You know that real like bloated feeling that you get kind of in your midsection where you just kind of feel blah. That's kind of how I was feeling for a while, but that feeling is completely gone. I actually feel thinner now, which is crazy. And I feel like this is honestly a very sustainable way of life. So I'm going to keep at it. I'll make more videos and vlogs as I go, so you're welcome to keep checking back. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. You can also follow me on Instagram at Pilot Christy. Fly safe, and I'll see you next time with a little weight and balance.